Morning. This is just a longer video on the shorter video I did earlier on that final fourth kingdom we see in Daniel 2 and Daniel chapter 7. I've been looking at this a lot, and it's the last thing that we will should expect to see. And so I've been just researching it to try to figure out more about it. And the those So when Daniel goes on about it after chapter 7, you basically see Alexander the Great come, smash Persia, and then his kingdom breaks up into four different kingdoms, and out of that comes Antiochus Epiphanes from the Seleucid dynasty, which was which was a broken up Greek empire. And then out of that, you see Herod come along. And so both of those guys are a type of the final character. I think what it is the first 3.5 years is a Herod type, because Herod kind of rebuilt the temple and was proclaimed king of the Jews and stuff like that. But Antiochus was a guy that basically Epiphanes is, I believe, it has a connotation of like being God. That's who this final guy is going to. This guy that runs the kingdom, the fourth kingdom. He's gonna, in the middle of the that last 7 years, proclaim himself to be God. So I think he starts out as a Herod type, but he ends as an Antiochus Epiphanes type. Um, so so we know there's going to be those 10 horns or 10 kings in the kingdom, and I think that what it is like how Herod was. Herod was a client king. So Rome conquered the world, but then they installed client kings. Herod was one of those. He was an Edomite, which was an ancient enemy of Israel. Edom, the modern territory of Jordan, and they installed him to basically rule that territory of the Roman Empire. And so those final 10 kings are that. And so we see the satanic aspirations of that with guys like this Mamdani guy that I said in New York and all throughout the world. And whether it be, Muslim or non-Muslim, you're either somebody that, believes and trust in the Bible, or you're not. And if you're not, then whether you're Muslim or non-Muslim, satanic is satanic. You know, so that when you see when you see leftists who would seem to be just completely contrary to Islam, but yet they somehow seem to get along. They get along because they have a same leader, and their leader is Satan. That's why that's why they are able to be one, be united. They're united in that they have one leader and one enemy, and that's the God of the Bible. So, guys like that Mamdani, he is placed there. Like I said, they don't migrate to Europe and America and all these other places to live a better life and, be free. They have a leader, and they do these things, and they work their way up politics and everything like that. They do that in order to persecute people of the Bible. And they do that with the leftists. They live for that. They don't live to, have a team or have a, have a good life. they have they live for one thing. You know, their entire life is devoted to destroying everything else. That's they don't pledge allegiance to countries or anything like that. They hate the Constitution. They hate the Bible. They hate democracy. They don't they don't have they don't have anything in life except for they work for their leader. Their leader is the devil, Satan, and they follow his orders. And so will this final kingdom be Islam, and these final 10 kings be Islamic? Um it is really kind of hard to say because it says that this guy's going to proclaim himself to be God. Does that mean, does that mean just another God? Because and if that's the case, it could be Islamic because that's a different God. That's not the God of the Bible. And we've already seen and know that, you know, leftists have already united with Islam. I mean, the Democrat Party and leftists in general and Islam, they get along. They're united. They're one people. So whether it be Muslim or non-Muslim, they're united. So I mean, they will definitely unite and get along for the cause of persecuting Jews and Christians, destroying the Bible, destroying the Constitution, taking over nations. So in that regard, it really doesn't matter what they are, if they're Islamic or just leftist. Doesn't matter because they're united. They have the same goal and same purpose. They have the same leader and same mission. Now we do see that there's a woman that rides the beast. So, could the beast be Islam and the woman be basically, the leftist? Maybe that could be a possibility. Um, but yeah, so I just wanted to kind of put that out there because you already see that kind of that client king operation with people like that, and it's not like they just do it. They start, and mayor by being mayors and stuff, and they work into they were all levels of politics until they work their way up. And can you imagine somebody like that in control of the American military, or anything? They would seek to destroy the Constitution and you know they would destroy this country pretty quickly because it goes against everything they believe in. So, I mean, in that regard as well, we know that we're in the final. We know we're in the final end as well because, I mean, they've already invaded Europe, in the West, and they're already deep into politics. So, you know, they're just they're in the final stages of trying to get to the very top, and they're not going to. Well, they might for a very brief little time, but that's just the very end because God is going to return and smash that beast, that fourth kingdom, those 10 kings. He's going to return and smash them, just as the Bible says. And, they'll be done forever. So, like it's nothing, it's nothing to worry about, and that you can't stop it or change it anyway, because it's going to come. The Bible says it's going to come, and it's also going to be destroyed, because the Bible says it's going to be destroyed. So whether it be Islamic, whether it be non-Islamic and leftist or anything like that, they'll be united in the fact that they hate the Bible, the people of the Bible, and that's their sole purpose of life. They don't have another they don't have any other purpose, any other mission. They're not divided. They have one leader, one mission, and that they will continue relentlessly until until they're in power. And so I mean, it's coming. There's no doubt about that. And so yeah, I just wanted to make another short video about that, and I'll keep researching it as long as we have time. As long as we're still here, I'll keep researching it, and then time will also expose more and more information and how this thing's going to play out. So, thanks for watching. Have a good morning.